All right, what you're looking at here are two Langstroth style deep frames. Well, that's your traditional deep frame. That's the frame that I've created. It's a deep plus a medium frame. For those of us that use imperial measurements, the deep frame body that we have has 8 inches from top to bottom. And the deeper frame that I have, as I just call it deeper, I don't know what else to call it, is 15 inches top to bottom, which means you have roughly twice as much surface area for the bees to play with as you do with that. So having two deeps is roughly the equivalent of having one deeper layer. And I hope that made any sense at all to other people, because I'm already confusing myself. For a Langstroth size box frame or anything else, the top and bottom dimensions here are going to be identical no matter how deep your frame is. So all I really did was extended it down. This does allow me to use other similarly sized Langstroth style boxes on this in the future, so I'm not stuck using just my own stuff as I go along. However, as an amateur woodworker, I kind of like making my own stuff, so I'll probably do that anyway. Speaking of making my own stuff, here's my bottom board. I went with a screen bottom board. I did enough reading and stuff to say that, hey, airflow is a good thing, right? With this screen bottom board, I do have an opening in the back, and that's where I would stick my tray, and inside the tray goes vegetable oil or stuff that small hive beetles can't live in. I can also put inside that tray area a layer of insulation if I want, or I can put in a board, or I can put in a door at the back. If you look there, the bottom of the area is 1/4 inch plywood, and I could quite easily put in a hinged door in the back there, which would effectively make that a closed off area. Yes, there would be some drafts that would get into the winter time. However, I don't think this would be any worse than your standard Langstroth style bottom board in that regard. However, once again, I am a novice here and I don't know exactly what I'm talking about. So maybe it would, maybe it wouldn't. If you think that I should do something different, like put in a more substantial insert there for the winter, that's fine. I've got, what, 15 months to think about it? So I got time. I got time.
Go.
All right. This is the brood box. This is an 8-frame Langstroth box that I built myself using concepts from the Fat Bee Man, and I'm gonna have to replace that piece. This is live and unedited right here. This thing has 1.5 inches of foam insulation all the way around it. The foam insulation will help the bees maintain the temperature that they want to have in there, rather than what the sun beating down on it or the wind coming through the cracks will have on it. The videos I've seen on Vino Farm show that there's less bearding, which bearding isn't a bad thing, but it does take bees that could be out foraging and keeps them at home, keeping the temperature of the hive where they want it to be. This right here is just an 8-frame super. Why do I have this here right now? Just to show you the difference in size from the frame itself, because the inside frame here is the same Langstroth 8-frame size that we all know and love. It's just deeper to accommodate those frames. So it's almost twice as deep as a regular hive. If you want to just take a look in the inside here, the plan that I have is to make an insert that goes on the side here. And I want to start off the bees when I get my package with probably 3 or 4 frames. And you're thinking, Doug, that's all this open area that they have to defend, and there's only a 3-pound package of bees. Oh, not so, because I'm going to build a very simple box that's going to block this section off. And it's a box that makes the bees feel a little bit more cozy in their bee space. Bees like cozy, so do we all. Winter's coming up, am I right? So let's all get cozy and enjoy the bee space that we have in there. Can you hit pause for a sec? All right, so I got the brood box, we got the honey super. A lot of people put on a inner cover, and so being the novice that I am, I asked, well, what's an inner cover? What's that do? The inner cover is used to feed the bees. It's used to kind of give them a sense of this is our space, this is our attic, this is our ceiling kind of stuff. Well, you know, the Fat Bee Man has plans out there for, yes, he's called the Fat Bee Man, Dana. He calls himself that. He has plans for an inner feeder. This is my inner feeder. The bees have a ladder that they can walk up, that's what he calls it. And I do have a ladder that I didn't grab, and I'm not gonna grab it now. But it attaches on here, and it comes down into here. I'm gonna put a tray of syrup or honey or fondant or whatever it is that the bees need right now. Bees are welcome to come in and get to it. With the ladder I'm gonna have, they're able to climb down and climb back up without drowning if it's a liquid feed. So yay for us all. This also has ventilation that will let hot air out of the hive, and there's ventilation out here as well. And being the over engineer that I am, not an engineer, but you get it, I made them a little awning there so that water would not go in the screen. I want the screen for the water to go out. Will it let some moisture in? Quite likely, but that's just part of nature, I guess. Finally, along with this, I have my top cover, my outer cover, that looks horrible because of the eco wood that I put on it, but trust me, it's going to be awesome after it gets nice and weathered. The eco wood will darken the wood. It'll also protect it from the elements. But this cover goes over the feeder, keeps the whole thing enclosed, and it is sloped to allow rain to go off, but it's flat enough to keep a rock or something on there so it doesn't blow away. But this thing is a beast. It's going to be awesome. The brood box is permanent. I'm not going to be flipping around big supers all the time. When I want to inspect the bees, I'm going to be pulling out these to look at what the bees are like in their natural habitat. I can take all of these out if I need to scrape out the bottom there, but with that screen bottom board, I shouldn't have to get into the bee space to get rid of any debris down there. Plus the bees are pretty hygienic anyway. I'm not too worried about it. It's going to be a learning experience. I am going to learn as I go, and I am going to ask a lot of questions. So my first question is, as we know, the cell size that's inside this frame gives the bees the size of a cell that they want to make. I want to give the bees more autonomy, which is one reason why this middle section here that is open was so attractive to me. They can build drone cone in there, they can put a queen cup on, they can do whatever they want here. They don't have to worry about the size of these little cells. Now, I can't just take something this size and not have it be supported in some way, and plastic foundation is probably the best support that I can give it. I was planning on eventually sandwiching a frameless or a foundationless frame in between two foundations after these are established, and letting them build whatever they want on the foundationless frame, but leaving these the way they are. Still not the biggest fan of that. I want to give them more autonomy. I want to give them more freedom to build what the bees know they need, because they know a lot more about being bees than I do. So my question is, do I take a hole saw and put holes inside this, which it will still be able to support what it's doing, but give more regions inside here for the bees? Do I want to take a jigsaw and cut out a loop here to give them more freedom to put brood of all different kinds throughout here? Or do I want to let it go and just sandwich in a foundationless frame in the middle, which was my original idea? I want autonomous bees, and frankly, I want smaller bees. If you've done any reading, which I've done way too much reading, smaller bees fight off varroa mites much better than bigger bees, and I want to encourage the death of the varroa mite. So what do? Do I Swiss cheese this thing? Do I cut it out, or do I leave it alone and sandwich it? So that's what I got right now. Questions, comments, insults, you know how to reach me. Peace.